Guyana's opposition leader opened to extending the deadline for general elections. And in sport, West Indies assistant coach expecting a good game from his team in the final test against England. I'm Ricardo Roberts, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Friday, February 8, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Organizations like the Lorna Lashley Save the Children Foundation know that home construction makes a big difference in the lives of those in need. The foundation is pleased to be one of the recipients of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and the Environment and the National Commission for Self-Help Limited. The formal agreement lays the groundwork for CBOs and NGOs like the foundation to benefit from the Commission's construction grants.
What is it that we know for a fact, not fiction, uncorroborated, that this president has done that's criminal, unethical, and that would lead to him being impeached?
We have no final resolution on anything like that at present. It's just allegations out there. And that is why, to reach closure, the House has to perform an educational function here. That is perhaps the most important element of the House and the Senate here.
Guyana's opposition leader Barra Jagdeo says he may agree to an extension of the deadline for elections if he sees good faith measures being taken by the government. Jagdeo maintains that the polls can be held by March 19th, which would be 90 days since the ruling coalition lost a no confidence vote. But he told a news conference yesterday that the opposition would support extending the deadline to July if President David Granger announced that preparations for general elections will get underway. We get more in this report from HJP Nightly News.
The opposition leader stressed that already there were several cycles of continuous registration.
So there is no concern about leaving young people off the list. Absolutely none. Two, that the list is not clean. Again, the parties went to the local government elections, not a single complaint about that.
The concern of the government-appointed commissioners at GCOM is that the list is bloated and creates scope for electoral fraud. But Mr. Jagdeo feels there could be mechanisms in place to plug loopholes.
Say a person is on the list and has migrated now, okay? That person physically will not be here to vote. If you have strong controls at the polling place, once the presiding officer is there and the polling agents from all the parties, including APNU, is in the polling place, how could someone else vote that is not eligible to vote? And if they have their fingers stained with the ink and every party can see the person's picture ID when they come in, all the parties in the polling place, and the presiding officer doesn't allow that.
On the other hand, while the Secretariat has made proposals to the commissioners relative to timelines, no date has been decided on as yet.
The ruling Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, has hinted at the possibility of an early by-election in the Portland Eastern constituency following the murder of the parliamentary representative Dr. Linvale George Bloomfield last weekend. National Security Minister Dr. Harish Chang, who is also the JLP's General Secretary, told a local radio program that the constituents shouldn't remain without representation for any lengthy period. But he stressed that Prime Minister Andrew Holness is the one who has to make the call. The main opposition, People's National Party, which is offering a $500,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in the killing of its legislator, has already indicated it would be prepared in the event an early by-election is called. CARICOM has stressed the importance of the European Union as it continues to call for the peaceful resolution to the ongoing Venezuela crisis. The statement was issued yesterday following a meeting with the Vice President of the European Commission, Federica Mogherini, in Uruguay's capital, Montevideo. The EU assured CARICOM its interest will be welcomed as part of any discussion or mechanism as all parties attempt to work towards a peaceful resolution without the use of force and through a process which is owned by the Venezuelan people. On Wednesday, representatives of CARICOM, Mexico, Uruguay, and Bolivia proposed a Montevideo mechanism which details a pathway to peace in Venezuela, where President Nicolás Maduro has been under pressure to step down since opposition leader Juan Guaido declared himself interim president last month. And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. On the eve of the third and final test between the West Indies and England in St. Lucia, the Caribbean side's assistant coach Vasper Drakes is expecting a good showing from his squad. The Windies will be going for a clean sweep after crushing England by 381 runs in the first test in Barbados and then by 10 wickets in Antigua. Drakes praised the team for their good showing in the two tests.
I think the guys are playing really good cricket. Really proud of the ex-West Indies cricketer, someone that would make a contribution, and being in an environment where you have a group of players that started to believe in themselves, and all kudos got to go certainly to the players.
Drake says he expects to see the Pacers continue the legacy that was left by Pacers in the heydays of West Indies cricket.
Have a look at cricket. St. Lucia have a special place, certainly for me, and certainly at this group in cricket in St. Lucia. It reminds me of the wickets that was prepared for us, well, the West Indians in the 70s and the 80s, and certainly that's the sort of environment we're trying to create. The problem with that is obviously we've got to manage the situation with the fast bowlers, so this is something that certainly we have to get right as a unit. But the objective is to make sure that we have pace, because pace, what it does is intimidate you.
Still in cricket, former West Indies batsman Lendell Simmons struck a superb 100 on his first appearance in first-class cricket in just over 2 years as Trinidad and Tobago Red Force flourished against arch-rivals Barbados Pride on the opening day of the 7th round match yesterday. The 34-year-old, who last played for West Indies 21 months ago, slammed 138, while Jason Mohammed continued his return to form with a brilliant 121 as Red Force reached 316 for 8 at Kensington Oval. Now, Upton to bat first, Red Force found themselves in early trouble, slipping to 69 for 3 as the hosts dominated the morning session. They suffered 2 early blows in the first hour, courtesy of Jamaican pacer Macrino Mindley, who removed both openers cheaply. Joshua De Silva was caught at gully for 7 and Jeremy Solizano was caught at the wicket for 12. At the Guyana National Stadium, however, tail-ender Derval Green struck an unbeaten half-century and top-order batsman Brandon King struck another as Jamaica Scorpions battled all day to finish on 320 for 8. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.